A grant to prevent homelessness, honoring a contributor to Lexington's history, and the Citizens Environmental Academy. This and more up next on this week's edition of Lexington Now. I'm Neil Noah, and this is Lexington Now for the week of February 25th, 2019. Lexington's Office of Homelessness Prevention and Intervention has made great strides in recent years to help those who find themselves homeless. They recently received a federal grant to continue that great work. Polly Ruddock explains.
One of the Office of Homelessness Prevention and Intervention's kind of responsibilities for the community is to act as the continuum of care lead. And what that is the Department of Housing and Urban Development designates a lead for your community, and that agency organization is responsible for submitting a competitive grant application every year for federal funds that have to do with permanent housing, rapid rehousing, and some supportive services. There's a lot of regulations with that. So my office is responsible for writing and submitting that grant on behalf of the community. So what happens is we go out, we ask community partners if they would like to apply for these funds, what these funds would be used for. They submit what we call project applications. We bundle those together and we send all of that information along with what we call a COC, Continuum of Care, kind of status application. It talks about how we work together as a community and progress for ending homelessness. We send that to the federal government, and then they award you funds based on your performance. So we applied for about 1.7. We were awarded 1.8, which was over and above what we actually asked for. And I tell people the reason we were so excited about this is because Lexington has worked so hard in the last 4 years to make homelessness, reduce it, but make it rare, brief, and non-reoccurring. We talk about that a lot. But to put that and actually have the data to support what we're doing, it sounds good when you say it, but to back it up with data and to get those points and for HUD to recognize the good work that we're doing and to actually give us more money than we even asked for, that's never happened here in Lexington. We have applied for these funds since the 90s. It was always the Continuum of Care funds. Lexington has never been in a position to have the data and the progress to support this amount of money. So it is kind of record setting for us. People ask me what we're going to do with the money. We actually get partners to design projects prior to submitting the application. So the 1.8 has already been divvied out in total to our community partners. My office only keeps a very tiny portion, about $42,000 of that, for a grant-funded position within our office that runs our database, and the rest goes out in the community either for permanent housing vouchers, rapid rehousing vouchers. There's a couple new grants, one specifically for permanent housing vouchers for domestic violence, people fleeing domestic violence. That is through Community Action Council. We also received a supportive service grant that will continue our housing navigation, landlord recruitment, and retention. You can't house people without landlords. So we actually have a full-time staff that works one-on-one with landlords and management property firms to help them kind of understand our population and how to work within our voucher system and inspections, and kind of is their go-to person for any kind of issues that they may have utilizing these dollars or housing folks that had a homeless experience and are working through being homed again. There's multiple organizations that receive that specific 1.8. We like a very diverse partnerships just because everybody, if you're in human service, any type of human service, you touch this population and you have an expertise in your field, and that means you need to be at the table. So whether it's University of Kentucky in youth, whether it's formerly homeless or currently homeless participants trying to guide us and given their expertise on their homeless experience, whether it's the medical field, the mental health field, the substance abuse field, shelters, permanent housing supporters, managed care organizations, insurance organizations. They all sit at the table with us. And you're probably thinking, why does Humana or Aetna or, why are they wanting to be so active? WellCare, the largest MCO in Fayette County, because they see the need. Nobody wants individuals to live on the street. Nobody wants them to be in need. So we need to work together as a community to bring all the experts to the table, because everybody has a piece of the pie. Everybody has an interest in solving this problem and making the quality of life better for these humans. They're just human beings like you and me, and we all have an interest in not seeing people live without a home.
The newly restored courthouse in downtown Lexington had many contributors to its renovation, but perhaps even more so to its original construction. One of those contributors was honored this past week.
We look forward to commemorating the role of a talented craftsman in the creation of this historic structure, an untold story of the man whose efforts created this cherished landmark in our community. I applaud everyone who has played a role in providing this long overdue recognition to Henry Tandy. I look forward to seeing the display soon to be unveiled that celebrates his previously unheralded efforts. This part of our history is worth knowing and sharing. Tandy's example reminds us that diversity has always made Lexington a better place.
On behalf of Visit Lex, the Commission, and our staff, I want to extend a warm welcome to you. It's great to have you at our home tonight. We are glad that you could be with us as we honor Henry Tandy this evening. To say that Visit Lex is proud to be doing this and excited is an understatement. We believe that he has given us a lasting legacy, and we are thrilled to be unveiling installation in his honor. The brickwork that supports the limestone facade of this renovated Fayette County Courthouse was constructed by an African-American company that was co-founded and headed by Mason and entrepreneur Henry Tandy. He was born enslaved in 1854 in nearby Mount Sterling, and then moved to Lexington after the Civil War, where he began his work as a contractor and a bricklayer, quickly becoming noted for his very skills and on to becoming a foreman. In 1893, just a few years before this building began its construction, Tandy and his colleague, Albert Bird, another black mason, formed their own contracting company, employing up to as many as 50 workers, both black and white. Tandy's work in Lexington was extensive, not just here, but also including the First National Bank, Merrick Lodge, Lexington Dry Goods Building, and the Miller Hall on the University of Kentucky's campus. Tandy was said to have been the richest African-American man living in Kentucky at his time, and he was also a wonderfully involved community citizen, part of the Masonic Order State Grand Master, and in leadership roles at the AME Church and the Colored YMCA, as well as the Colored Fair Association. Tandy's son, Vertner, was born here in 1885 and became the first registered African-American architect in New York City, working in Harlem.
We look forward to seeing the display and honoring of Mr. Tandy in such a meaningful way. Thank you for your leadership to make this happen. Public spaces have a power all of their own. Architectural, like that embodied in this courthouse, is not by accident. Buildings like this were vivid expressions of community aspirations, status, and values. Courthouses have been centers of commerce, legal proceedings, and politics for centuries. There were those places of convening, judgment, and celebration. In Lexington, this courthouse was also the site of the sale and purchase of African Americans, enslaved persons whose freedoms were denied, whose treatment was inhumane, and whose terrors were unimaginable. This community is now committed to dedicating this newly renovated courthouse as a welcoming space for all, an inclusive place where everyone feels at home. We should never turn a blind eye to the horrors that took place on these grounds. And we should not fail to act on what we know about our history to build a better future.
What is the Citizens Environmental Academy? We'll tell you when we come back.
This is Tom Leach. A team plays their best when they're prepared. They have a plan so they know what to do to win. Just like a winning team, your family needs to be prepared for emergencies, severe weather, power outages, flooding, and fires. The Kentucky Emergency Management Association, along with your local emergency management agency, want you to be prepared. Be aware of potentially dangerous conditions. Put together an emergency kit for your home, office, and vehicle. Have a family emergency plan and update it regularly. For more information, visit BeReadyLexington.com.
This message is brought to you by the U.S. Fire Administration. Have two ways out. When fire strikes, deadly smoke can fill your home within minutes. That's why the USFA wants you to plan and practice home fire drills. Draw a map of each level of your home showing all doors and windows. Discuss the map with everyone who lives with you. Practice your home fire drill at least twice a year. Make sure all doors and windows that lead outside open easily. Push the smoke alarm button to start the drill. Try feeling your way in the dark or with your eyes closed. Have at least two ways out of every room. If your first way out is blocked by fire or smoke, you can use your second way out. If there is smoke, get low and go. Crawl quickly under the smoke to your nearest exit. Close doors behind you and gather at a pre-planned outside meeting place where first responders can see you. Call 911. Remember, get out and stay out. Never go back inside for people, pets, or things. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Welcome back to Lexington Now. The always popular Citizens Environmental Academy is gearing up. But what is it? Chrissy Toon fills us in.
Lexington is a vibrant and busy city. Have you ever wondered how your local government works? Consider applying to the Citizens Environmental Academy to learn about the inner workings of environmental quality and public works.
The Citizens Environmental Academy is a program that's in its third year. It's a way for residents of Fayette County or those who work here to get a little bit more involved and learn about environmental issues. So it's a year-long program. We meet one Saturday a month. The first 6 months, participants attend lectures and hands-on tours of places like here at McConnell Springs, the recycling center, the wastewater treatment plant. The second 6 months, they're actually implementing that knowledge and working on a project that's a collaboration with the city, something to improve the local environment. So the first class of the Citizens Environmental Academy, there was one group who did a stormwater remediation project here at McConnell Springs. They had been having an issue, and that's something we noticed on our tour, of when there was heavy rain, around the blue hole there was some soil erosion. So they did a planting to kind of mitigate that and create a place for the water to flow. The pop-up streetscape project was near the intersection of Loudon and Bryan Avenues. We call it pop-up because it was done on a temporary basis. The group worked with the city. They also did some public forums and met with the neighborhood association to identify ways to make that intersection safer for cyclists and pedestrians. And they put some changes in as a temporary condition to see how that impacted traffic. The CEA is a very rewarding experience. It's a great way for citizens to get a little bit more involved, whether it helps them professionally or personally, or if they just want to learn more about what goes on in Lexington. Visit lexingtonky.gov/CEA. The Academy actually starts on May 18th, and graduation for this new class will be May 16th of 2020.
Ready to apply? Visit our website, lexingtonky.gov/CEA, and submit your application today. The deadline to apply is March 29th.
An innovative approach to live performance has made its way to Lexington. It's called So Far.
Hi, I'm Samantha Ayers, and I'm the city leader for So Far in Lexington. So Far stands for Songs from a Room. So Far Sounds is a community of people that create music events that happen in unique spaces with an undisclosed lineup. So it's usually 3 artists that play for 30 minutes, and you don't know who they are until you get there.
So who's playing tonight?
So we don't find out actually until we get to the venue. They sent me an email yesterday telling me what the venue is, but we don't know who it is until we get there.
So where are we going?
It's Smiley Pete Publishing up on Old Vine.
Cool.
Yeah, I thought it sounded cool.
Once we put the event online, you apply for tickets, and then we make an announcement like, hey, we're accepting tickets now, and people can go on and purchase them for them and their friends. Usually we like to find places that are not your standard venue per se, hair salons or just office spaces or restaurants, coffee shops, whatever, people's houses, just unique spaces. That's one thing that's really neat about So Far is that it is happening like all over the world, and I think it's definitely cool to think that on the same day that there's people all around the world experiencing a similar sort of event and loving music.
Cutting calls from reckless stocks, cash it in for half the talks of the LHC. Me seeking common corporate sensibilities. I love everything. I love everything. Back to 5-speed parking lots, traded in for duct tape plexi. Oh my heavy upper management, we spent so much time together.
Especially for a new band that hasn't had a lot of exposure in other cities, to be able to come into a brand new city, a brand new space with a brand new group of people and have their attention for 30 minutes listening to your music, that's not something that you can find in a bar. So for the artists themselves, I think So Far is a really valuable experience just for that fact alone, that people are being attentive and giving their time and attention to your music.
I think I am done here. I've got places to be. I'm familiar, I'm suspecting, more deserving of my time. I am my own experiment, taking in the chemicals, watching the controls. I no longer know if I am grounded. My mind speaks sex, my mind speaks sex, my mind speaks sex, my mind speaks sex, my mind beside itself.
people get sent an email after each show where they can leave feedback about the shows to let us know like what they're enjoying and what they would, you know, want to see more of or whatever. So people often say that they like the diversity in the kind of music and that they just enjoy like the intimate, like the unique space that it's in.
Chris Edwards gives us a preview of this week's Lex TV televised meeting schedule. Chris?
Thanks, Neil. Welcome to the week of February 25th, 2019. We're coming to you from the Lex TV digital control room here in the Government Center at 200 East Main Street. This is where we televise live all the meetings that you see here on Lex TV. We have some of those meetings to tell you about this week, starting with Tuesdays, February 26th, Council Budget, Finance, and Economic Development Committee meeting. It's at 1 p.m. on Tuesday. During that meeting, we're going to get an update on where we're at with the fiscal year 2019 budget, as well as get a presentation on the debt that the Irving County government is carrying. At 3 p.m., we'll have the council work session. And then on Wednesday, February 27th, at 3:30 p.m. will be the Rural Land Management Board meeting. This is where we'll get an update on the purchase of development rights programs that are occurring here in Fayette County. The 5 p.m. Board of Architectural Review meeting for this week has been canceled. They'll pick back up again in March. The only other meeting to tell you about this week is the 1:30 p.m. Planning Commission meeting on Thursday. That's February 28th in the council chambers. This week during the Planning Commission meeting, we're going to hear about some zoning items. That's all the meetings we have to tell you about this week. As always, you can catch these meetings live here on Lex TV, channel 185. You can also check them out on the archives on the city's website. If you have any questions about what you see on Lex TV, give us a call, drop us an email. We'd love to hear from you. That's it from the control room. Now, Neil, back to you.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks to all of you for joining us. That's all for this week. You can keep up with us on social media and check out the latest traffic updates on Twitter at LexRex, or catch our live traffic cams on lexingtonky.gov. For the staff and producers at Lex TV, I'm Neil Noah, and that's it for now.